is Ashley with an I. I am here with roam freely virtually to answer a few questions. First things first, I am 24 years old. I turned 24 July 16th, so I'm freshly 24. I mainly focus on photography and a bit of like visual design, so I like working on like the process and curating the entire like visual aspect of photography, but within that I mainly focus on lighting. So little fun fact, all of my lighting is done in pre-production, and that's something I take the most pride in. In terms of people, my favorite photographer is Kanya Iwana. She's an LA-based photographer, and I like always tell people to like check out her work because it's just so dope. She also focuses on like a lot of lighting work too, and I believe she shoots in film, which I shoot digital, but and then in terms of like what else inspires me, I do love lighting, and I love to see how I can light brown and black skin tones in ways that haven't always been portrayed. I don't really always stay inspired. I think right now everybody's going through it, and even then I was going through some wild shite. So my biggest thing, I think, is, this sounds really technical, but I had to break everything down in terms of like finding the best way for me to even be productive. I know being productive and staying inspired are two different things, but in order for me to even get to that point, I had to find a way to be productive. So as small as it sounds, is I would make lists and put them everywhere in my home and or in my room or my notebook, and essentially it would just be like the smallest task that I had to do, so I could cross those out and it could make me feel like I was just doing something, and from there I was able to put me way more in a space of being able to be inspired. As far as like being inspired, that for me comes from like looking at images. I am your basic Pinterest beach, going on Pinterest, like looking at different pictures, looking at different artists to see how they did something. I like just playing around with lighting. I sometimes sit in my room, take out my gels and my lighting kits and just sit there and play around with lighting, and I go like, okay, this is a sunset, how can I create a sunset artificially with my lights? And then I plan up a shoot from there. So for me, I think just the world and the state of it, a lot of my thinking has been like, how can what I create actually affect systems, and not just in a way that's like evoking thought, which I think is so important, but also in ways that's like actually affecting change. So how can I take my skills and my passions and align them more with creating systems that are going to do something? And so through that, I've actually been looking more into this idea of like sustainable farming and gardening and how I can integrate that with my photography, because a lot of communities don't have access, like basic access to food, and that's a part of like changing systems. So I could go on for this a whole day, but I think the biggest thing for me is just finding ways that my skill and my craft can actually create change within smaller systems, and then how that can be carried out on a bigger scale. Senior year of college, I was working with my friend Maya, and we were essentially like, hey, let's create like a little zine, and we just took things that we found at Goodwill, and I remember we took like some fabric and we hung it up on the wall, and we suddenly like made my friend Vinay's house look like a hotel room. And so that was one of my favorite shoots because I just got to like express this creative side like however I wanted. It wasn't necessarily for a grade or for a submission. It was just like me creating to create, and I think that's always when I create some of my favorite stuff. Recently I did a shoot with my friend Michonne, and we had a snake, which is just cool because it was a snake. I have something favorite about all of my pieces, but I would say for now one of my favorite sets was the one I did with my friend Maya, just because I think that was just me tapping in and being like, shite, like this is what I do, this is what I'm good at, and I can't wait to do more. And that was right before I moved to New York. Yes, so thank you for watching my video and tuning in, I guess. And yeah, guys, stay safe and healthy.